Hello, my dear students of DRS International School. Today is day 3 of your yoga practice at home, and it is not just any other regular day. It is a very special day because it is the International Yoga Day 2020. So, here's wishing all of you a very happy and a very prosperous International Yoga Day 2020. However, it's a very special yoga day this year because it is all digital. So we are going to start our common yoga protocol, but before we do that, we need to prep our bodies. We need to warm up, stretch our bodies, condition our bodies so that we can perform to the best of our ability. So we have already learned 4 yoga poses in the last 2 sessions. So we've done Tadasana, we are done with Vrikshasana, then we also performed the Trikonasana and the extended side angle pose. Today we are going to learn Veerbhadrasana. Now all of these you must have realized are standing poses. And out of all the standing poses in yoga, of course Tadasana is the most fundamental or the basic building block of all standing asanas. What do I mean by a basic building block? It is that before starting the practice of any standing pose in yoga, we must come back to Tadasana itself. So the starting of every standing pose in itself is Tadasana. So let's start with Veerbhadrasana. Now, Veerbhadra was a very valiant warrior. So it is also known as the warrior pose. Now there is a very interesting story behind Veerbhadrasana. But let's keep that discussion for another day, another video. Today we have to learn how to do Veerbhadrasana. Now, I am emphasizing the importance of all the standing poses much more than the seated or the lying down poses because yoga believes, and especially in Iyengar Yoga, Guruji BKS Iyengar ji believes that the foundation of the body must be very, very strong. So we need to understand that we have to practice all the simple foundational poses much more on a day-to-day basis so that eventually we can prepare our body to attempt the more challenging or the tougher poses of yoga. Tadasana is a great example of a foundational pose which helps you to build a strong foundation into the earth. The same thing applies to the other standing asanas which we have done in the last 2 days, and the same applies to the 2 poses which we are going to learn today. Why do we need a strong foundation? Because we need to ensure that the lower half of the body, I'm talking about the legs of our body need to be very strong. When we have strong legs and strong thighs in our body, then we can have a slimmer waist, a tighter tummy, a stronger spine, and all our hormones in the body also function optimally. So in order to ensure overall health of the body, the lower part of the body needs to be very strong. And for that, the foundation of the body needs to be strong. And to make a strong foundation, we need to practice these standing poses of yoga. Now today I'm going to use that wall. The wall we have to use because you have to learn how to use your legs while performing these 2 poses. Now I'm going to start with my left leg forward first, and I'm going to place my other leg, which is the right leg, against the wall. So if we can get the camera slightly closer, I want to show you how I'm going to place my heel against the wall. Let's get the camera very close and see how my heel is placed against the wall, but at the same time you can see that I'm lifting my toes up and I'm placing them down on the marble, and once again you can see how my toes are nicely separated from each other. They are widely spread apart and you can see the white marble. Now let's get the camera back to my entire body. So my right leg is behind and my left leg I'm going to step forward and create a distance between both the legs. This is going to be the basic standing position for Veerbhadrasana. Left leg forward, right leg behind, keeping both the legs straight. Now you want to make sure that the foundation of the body is strong. So inner thighs moving away from each other, outer thighs squeezing in and working against the inner thighs to create a strong foundation in the body. Check your hips. You want to make sure that the hips are square and facing the wall in front of you. Every time, whichever leg goes behind, the navel tends to run in that direction. But let me tell you that the navel has no business going left and right. The navel belongs to the center. It should stay in the center and point in the forward direction. How can you ensure that your hips are square? You can use your hands and place them on both the hips. Now, whichever leg is behind, now in my case, the right leg is behind, so naturally the right hip will tend to tilt a little back. So you want to squeeze your right hip and push your right hip forward, and you also want to squeeze your left hip and push it back. So the left hip goes back and the right hip pushes forward to make sure that both the hips are nice and square. Now from there you are going to gently bend the knee in front. So it is the left knee in front. I'm going to bend the left knee. Now let's get the camera to my back leg. अब जब आप सामने का पैर मोड़ोगे तो naturally पीछे का पैर मुड़ने की कोशिश करेगा. It will happen naturally, children. You have to check that mistake. That is why we are using the wall today. You want to keep this back knee extended completely and the leg becomes straight. Nice. You will only bend the knee which is in front of you, and right now it is my left knee. So let's get the camera back to the whole body. Check this mistake, okay? So the back knee is straight. Now let's get the camera back to the whole body. Let's go back now. Let's go back in that direction. Let's watch the whole body now. So the front knee is bent. The back leg is completely straight and keeping both the hips square facing the forward direction. I'm going to lift my chest up. Again, take your hands, place them underneath your armpits as if you are lifting a baby underneath the armpits. Place your own hands underneath the armpits and lift your chest up like a warrior. Open out your chest nice and wide because it's Veerbhadrasana. This is a pose which makes your body strong, and when your body becomes strong, automatically you will have more bravery, more courage in your mind. So you want to keep your chest nice and open, and with that posture you are going to, of course, keep your abs engaged. You are going to lift both the arms up, keeping the knee in front of you bent. Now this is not the complete pose, but this is what you are going to practice today. Stay here for at least 10 to 15 seconds. After that, you are going to stretch out both the legs, making both the legs straight. Bring the hands down. You can place your hands on your waist, or you can take the support of this wall or the door in my case. Take the support of a chair maybe and just bring both the legs together and come back to the standing position. Now you want to repeat the same pose with the other leg. So once you come back to the standing position with both the feet together, so you have come back to Tadasana. Now I'm going to keep the right leg in front of me, take the left leg behind this time. So my left leg is going to go behind and I'm going to use the wall again. So let's get the camera. Now this time my left foot is against the wall. We are using the wall today to learn how to use our legs correctly. Now let's take the camera back. I'm going to repeat the same pose for all of you. Let's take the camera back and focus on my entire body. So children, you are going to stand here. This is your starting position. Both the legs are straight and knees are extended. From here, just to maintain your balance and to check the position of your hips, keeping the hips square, this time the left leg goes behind. So naturally the navel will tend to tilt in this direction and your hips will open out the way I'm showing right now. This is wrong. You don't want to open out your hips to the side. The navel has no business going haywire. Take the navel and bring it back to the center, making both the hips square. If the right leg is forward, you want to squeeze your right hip and push it behind. If the left leg is behind, you want to squeeze your left hip and push it in the forward direction so that both the hips are nice and square facing the wall in front of you. From here, you're going to bend your right knee this time. Once again, this knee which is behind will tend to bend. Wrong. Mistake. You want to keep the back knee totally extended and you want to keep the back leg totally straight with only the front knee bending, keeping your abs engaged, hips square, chest nice and wide and open. Lift both the arms up and stay once again in Veerbhadrasana for 10 to 15 counts. And keep breathing normally at the same time. After staying here for 15 seconds, let's say, bring the hands down, place them on the waist and stretch out both the legs again. So if you were here, this is your pose. You're going to stretch both the legs and come back to the starting or the standing position, which was your Tadasana. Now I'm going to show you the next pose, which is the Parsvottanasana. Very simple. We are going to start from the beginning. Let's start from here only. So one leg goes behind and I've got a stool in front of me, which is great. You can use a stool in front of you for this one. So you stand here. If this is where you were standing, take the support of the side wall and push one leg behind. Once again, the heel is against the wall and the other leg is extended in front of me. That's it. Keep your hips square, chest nice and open, abs are engaged, and from here you're going to lift both the arms up. Try to extend your spine as much as you can. Lengthen your spine like a rubber band, and from your hips you're going to bend forward and just place your hands on the stool. Stay here for some time, keeping both the legs extended this time. You are not going to do this. You're going to keep both the legs stretched. You can keep a chair in front of you or a stool in front of you and slowly come back up. Bring the hands down. Switch your legs. That's it. Get ready for the next side. Because we have two legs, so we have to perform the pose on both the sides. Check your hips. Hips are square, abs are squeezed and engaged. Chest is nice and wide and open. Lift both the arms up. And slowly, before you start to bend forward, you want to make sure that the spine is nice and long. So you lengthen your spine as much as you can. Bend forward and place your hands down on the stool for support and stay here. For how long should you stay here? 10 to 15 counts again. Stay here, bending forward from the hip joint, which works like a hinge joint. You don't want to bend forward from the spine. You want to bend forward from the hip. Otherwise, you may injure your spine. Then slowly, coming all the way up, keeping your hips square, bringing your hands down, keeping them on the waist, and slowly coming back to Tadasana. So every day, children, every day is an International Yoga Day because you must practice yoga every day, because you must take care of your health every day. If you will not take care of your health every day, then इतना ज़्यादा बड़बड़ करने से कुछ भी नहीं होने वाला. There will be no progress. There will be no development in your life. So make sure that you practice yoga every day and take care of your health every day. I hope you are not one of those who just gets a fancy photograph clicked on International Yoga Day and posts on social media like Instagram. I hope you are not one of those who just gets a fancy yoga pose done, posing into a fancy yoga pose and asking a photographer to click a nice beautiful picture and just posting it onto Facebook. Because when we look at that photograph also, we can quickly make out that this is one boy or girl who does not practice yoga throughout the year, but on International Yoga Day just gets a fancy photograph clicked and posts it onto social media. You don't want to be one of those. You want to be one of those who practices yoga diligently every day, so that any picture that you get clicked comes out as a beautiful professional picture. So my dear students, that was the yoga practice for day 3, wherein you have learned Veerbhadrasana and Parsvottanasana. Now let's come to the yoga philosophy for today, and I want you to listen to it carefully. Annam bahu kurvit tadavratam. I repeat, Annam bahu kurvit tadavratam. Take a vow today to grow a lot of food. to accumulate a lot of food in your house, to never ever waste food. Where does this come from? Well, this also comes from a yoga philosophy. And what is that yoga philosophy? Well, this philosophy assumes that earth in itself is food. So, earth in itself is considered by yogic philosophy to be food, and Akash or the sky or the space all around us is supposed to be dependent on earth, which is food. So, basically, yoga believes that earth and the sky are interdependent on each other. Both the earth and the sky or the space around us have a symbiotic relationship with each other. So, now let's revise all the three yogic philosophies which we have learned so far. On the very first day, I taught you the first yogic philosophy, which was Annam Nanindayat Tadavratam, wherein your body and the prana which resides inside your body were dependent on each other or interdependent on each other. Then we spoke about Annam na Parichakshit Tadavratam, wherein Agni and Jal or fire and water were interdependent on each other. And now we have Annam Bahukurvit or Tadavratam, wherein the earth and the sky or the space around us are interdependent on each other. So, what does that mean in real life? Well, in real life, it means, and in fact, most of the governments across the globe are now trying to achieve it. We are trying to prevent climate change and we are trying to prevent all those harmful activities on Earth which are damaging the space around us. So, what it means in real life is, and what yogic philosophy is trying to teach us, and in fact, that teaching really applies to modern times, is that we should grow more and more food. We should grow as much food on our land, on our local soil as possible. And we need to grow and accumulate this food. Food needs to be grown on a local level. All of us need to uh, incorporate this philosophy in life. We need to grow more and more food in the local areas around us. And not just any kind of food. Food which not just nourishes us but also helps in the betterment of the quality of the soil, because the better the quality of our local soil, the slimmer our wastes are going to be, because the better is the quality of the food which is going to emerge from that soil. So the more local food you grow, the more local you eat, the better the quality of the local soil. So it can actually get translated into this English phrase which we keep listening to these days: eat local and think global. So you need to aspire to eat more and more local food so that the quality of the soil can also be enhanced. आप जितना लोकल खाना खाएंगे उतना ज़्यादा आपके सॉइल का क्वालिटी भी अच्छा रहेगा. And the better the quality of the local soil, the better the quality of the local crop, which in turn is going to help in the betterment of your health. Now, if you think of your दादा दादीज and the नाना नानीज, हमारे जितने भी बड़े बुजुर्ग हुआ करते थे, वो लोग तो साल के शुरुआत में ही एक कॉमन फार्मर या एक कॉमन फील्ड पे जाके पूरे साल का अनाज भर ले आते थे. So they used to get all their grains and millets and dals and pulses and spices, and they used to stock up on food for the rest of the year. So I would say, had this pandemic struck us during the times of our dada dadis and nana nanis, then none of us would have rushed out of our homes for panic shopping, actually. So we need to incorporate these lifestyle changes. We need to learn these things from yogic philosophy and our ancestors, our nana nanis and dada dadis. And number one, grow more local food. Number two, eat more local food because that is really good for our health. And number three, it also means that we should accumulate more and more food in our house. We need to stock up with healthy food in our house. So if you will go back in time and you think of the times of the kings and the queens, and अगर आप राज महलों के बारे में सोचें and all the forts, then they used to have these huge godowns with huge cellars and huge containers which used to be filled with grains and dals and pulses and non perishables, which were stocked for years and years. And a similar approach was also adopted in our villages where our grandparents used to stay earlier and they used to stock up on food for years and years. That was a really smart choice to make. That was a really smart practice to follow because they never had to worry about food in their life. Food is a form of a safety, security, and sustenance in our life. So, especially during this time when there is a pandemic, and we should have done this earlier, but we never did it, and that is why we were all so panic stricken and we were making all these foolish choices in the form of panic shopping and hoarding up at the last minute, and then the stores were running out of stock. So, eat more local food, grow more local food. The more local you eat, the more local you grow, the better quality of the soil, and at the same time, also start accumulating more non perishable food items at your house. What I mean by the non perishable food items is grains, pulses, dals, foods like these which do not get spoiled over the period of time. And pulses, grains, I mean to say locally grown and locally sourced pulses and grains. Okay, I'm not talking about the imported food stuff. So, what happens is that space and earth are inevitably connected to each other. The more local food you grow, naturally, the more local you are going to eat. But the more local you grow, the better the quality of the soil. And when the better the quality of the soil, the better the crop that comes out of it, and better is your health. The more enhanced your health becomes, the better decisions you are able to take in your life. The more sane or the more logical, rational, reasonable decisions you are able to make in your life, and the more you are able to realize that it is in your and your family's interest to eat more local food. So, the more local food you grow, which in turn further enhances the quality of the soil. So, it becomes like a cycle. So the quality of the soil becomes enhanced, which leads to a better crop. And a better crop leads to better health, which in turn leads to better mental health, better rationalism, better judgment, and which leads to enhanced growth of the local crop, enhanced harvesting of the local crop, which in turn leads to a better quality of soil. Better quality of soil naturally means a better environment because there is lesser soil pollution. And when you are eating more local and not eating more global, which means the lesser the transportation of the imported food, the lesser is the transportation of the food from Australia or America or the continent which is oceans away from you, which means lesser carbon footprint in the atmosphere. Lesser global food or lesser imported food also means that there is lesser plastic on your table, lesser plastic on your plate, which again leads to reduced soil pollution. So, lesser transportation of the food means lesser environmental pollution, lesser release of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, lesser carbon footprint, and lesser usage of plastic, which means the more local food you eat, lesser plastic and lesser carbon emissions into the atmosphere, which inadvertently leads to lesser total atmospheric pollution. And when we talk of atmospheric pollution, soil pollution is also counted as one of them. So, definitely the quality of the soil is going to enhance because there is lesser plastic disposal in the atmosphere. And the quality of the soil is definitely going to be better because there is less amount of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. So, less air pollution, which also leads to less water pollution, which also leads to lesser soil pollution. तो आप जितना ज़्यादा लोकल खाएंगे उतना ज़्यादा आपके सॉइल का क्वालिटी बेटर होगा. जितना ज़्यादा लोकल खाएंगे उतना ज़्यादा ओवरऑल एटमॉस्फेयर का क्वालिटी बेटर होगा, उतना ज़्यादा ओवरऑल एटमॉस्फेयर का पोल्यूशन कम होगा. So eat more local food so that there is lesser atmospheric and lesser soil pollution. The healthier the soil, the healthier is the environment, the healthier is the akash or the space around you. And when we have healthier soil, which means healthier planet or healthier earth, it inadvertently leads to better health and it also inadvertently leads to better health of the environment or the space around you or akash or sky. So, my dear students, in a nutshell, all I want to tell you is the less global you eat, the more local you eat, the lesser is the pollution in the atmosphere, the lesser is the pollution in the air and the water, the lesser is the pollution in Akash or the space around you or the sky, which inadvertently leads to lesser soil pollution. And the healthier the soil becomes, the healthier your local soil becomes, the healthier is the crop, and this healthier crop definitely leads to better health or an enhancement in your health. So it is a cycle, as you can understand. The more local you eat, the lesser is the environmental pollution, which leads to lesser soil pollution, which leads to an enhancement in the quality of the soil, which again leads to an enhancement in the quality of the local crop, which leads to an enhancement in the quality of your health. So today's yogic philosophy, today's learning, Annam Bahu Kurvit Tadavratam. Let's take that vow today. Before I leave, and I know that it is time for me to wrap up this video, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for taking out the time to do this wonderful yoga practice with me. And above all, I want you to thank yourself for having taken out the time for yourself and your health. Stay at home, stay safe, be good, take care of your entire family, become more responsible, accountable, dependable, and independent citizens of your country. God bless you, and I love you all. And before I leave, once again, here's wishing all of you a very, very happy International Yoga Day 2020.